Rangers, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but 36-year-old Doug Martin, former Buccaneer and Raiders player, football player, passed away this weekend at the age of 36. I didn't know this because I never really saw him as a top-tier player, but apparently he was voted one of the Buccaneers' top 50 players of all time, and I think he even won a Super Bowl or two with the team. What's really interesting to me about this is the police were called out in Oakland, the Oakland Police Department, because he was breaking into somebody's home.
Right. Before officers arrived, they were told on 911 there was a burglary in progress at that home on Ettrick Street. And so when officers went there, they were also simultaneously told that that same suspect who had broken in was the same person experiencing this medical emergency.
And do we know if Martin was taken to the hospital or was he treated on scene before passing?
He was having some problems in the back of a police car. So when they realized that he was having some issues, then they took him, I believe, via ambulance to a hospital, and that's where he was officially pronounced dead.
Now, a lot of things don't really make sense. Number one, the guy made tens upon tens of millions of dollars a year while he was playing. In addition to that, I believe ex-NFL football players, I believe they make like $60,000 a year or something halfway decent in like a retirement pension plan. So I don't think this was a money issue. What I really think it is I think it's CTE. I think we're going to end up finding out that Mark Sanchez, he's probably going to end up using some sort of CTE or mental condition in his defense. I haven't heard that, but that's the defense I would use. And I have a feeling if they end up studying this Doug Martin's brain, I think we're going to find out he has CTE as well. I believe that a lot of us, and notice I said us, that didn't even necessarily play college football. You might have played high school football. You might have played Pop Warner and Pee Wee League football. I think a lot of us got mild forms of CTE, and I think people that are lucky enough to make it to the pros are probably the unlucky ones that have severe CTE. This guy, 36 years old, unless they end up finding out that he's on drugs.
Some breaking news coming to us right now from One Buck Place. We are just learning NFL has suspended Bucs running back Doug Martin for violating the league's drug policy.
Then it's got to be one of two things, either mental illness that he's probably had for a long time, or mental illness derived from what he did as a football player. They've taken a look at people's brains after they perish because the only way they can currently test for CTE is post-mortem after you pass away. But that's what they tell us. What if there was a simple test that we could all go get to see if we had this particular disease? I believe they wouldn't even want us to know, because I think a lot of us would find out that football probably has affected us, and we just haven't found out yet. I also think that since Mark Sanchez was 38 and this guy here, Doug Martin, was 36, I think that means we're going to start seeing a lot more of our favorite football players having this condition immediately after they retire. As a matter of fact, if any of you guys have ever heard of Antonio Brown, he was actually playing, and for some reason, he took his shirt off on his last game ever and just kind of acted weird and crazy, and people believe that he too probably has CTE. As a matter of fact, a lot of people postulate that he actually got that from about half a dozen hits he took in his career, and there's videos that actually show those particular hits. What I'm getting at is that we secretly all have CTE, and if they told us, football would be extinct tomorrow, and I don't think people want to see that. Hey, how's it going? Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Good. So imagine football goes the way of the dinosaur tomorrow. the next thing that would happen is all those billionaire football owners would be sued by everybody, right? And nobody would win, right? Because I don't think everyone's going to sue our pee-wee football teams and our high school teams. But I think the cruel truth is those hits we all took, even if you don't think you took that many, just 1 or 2 years at the pee-wee level probably equated to people taking hundreds of tiny little hits to the head. It's all those little micro hits that end up forming the problems for people later in their life. What's really scary about running backs is they have a tendency to put their head in and just go right into the pile, right into that collision head first. So it's probably not going to be very fun for a lot of running backs in the future. Not to mention the neck pain. It seems like you'd have a lot of neck pain when you retire from football. What I always wonder is, do crazy people understand they're crazy? Does a person with CTE start to notice that he's acting and thinking, in a weird way? Or is it something that the condition itself makes the person blind to it, Just like they say when you own a cat, you get nose blind. You get to the point where you can't smell the litter box. But the people that go and visit your house that don't own a cat, God, they can smell that litter box from a mile away. So the moral of the story is, don't let your kids play football until they're at least probably freshmen in high school. And don't own cats. They just smell horrible. Holy moly. But they're fun. They're fun. So technically, we've been doing it the wrong way, parents. We've been putting our kids in football when they're little, thinking that if they don't like it, they'll get out by the time they're old enough to hurt themselves, right? But the reality is, I think the experts would suggest that you keep them in flag football till they understand the nuances of the game and understand what it's about, and then you let them make the decision if they want to put their health in jeopardy. Me, myself, I felt invincible in my pads. You wear the football helmet, you feel like, hey, now somebody could hit me in the head and I'll be fine. We never really thought about that little, egg-size brain inside our cranium that's cracking against the other side of our skull when we're hit hard. The NFL really helps you notice this, though, because sometimes those players hit with such force. Have you ever looked at the game after a hard hit and thought, how is he even alive? Sometimes they get hit so incredibly hard, it's scary. So here's my first question for you, venters. Are we okay with people getting CTE if it happens in their 70s and 80s? Do we actually say, well, a lot of people at that point in their life have Alzheimer's and dementia. These people hit their head a lot. It's natural that it's going to happen. And the reason I say that is because I don't necessarily have a problem if somebody in their late stages of life goes a little off kilter with their brain, right? But I don't want that to happen to young people that are in their 30s. And I think these players have the ability to hide it. Because if you would have heard Mark Sanchez while he's calling a game, or if you would have heard Doug Martin speak, they seem like nice people. You can't imagine them doing these horrible things. I believe it's not them doing these horrible things. It's the damage that's been done to their brain, and it's causing them to do these things. John Dicker says, failed robbery. It's crazy how the media will straight up lie so the police always look justified. So John's looking at this from a completely different point of view. The police get there, and Doug Martin's alive and well, right? All of a sudden, he goes in the back of the police car, and next thing you know, the guy's heart stops and he's no longer alive. So he thinks it's a situation where the cops are to blame. Or maybe he thinks it's a situation where because the guy is a black guy, the cops, want to look justified in doing whatever they did that caused this guy's death. I don't even think John Dicker's thinking about CTE. And the truth is, this might have nothing to do with CTE, but I would love to know your opinion. Do you think this is a situation where maybe we're going to find out there was a love passion involved? Maybe he was breaking into an ex-girlfriend's, house. Maybe he thought he was at the wrong house. Was he drunk? Are we going to find out drugs and alcohol are involved? I hope they end up studying his brain, because even if it has nothing to do with CTE, it still kind of would be interesting to know if he has the condition. Angela Theriault says maybe it wasn't an attempted burglary. He might have been having medical or psychological issues and thought he was trying to get into his own residence. I've heard stories of people getting drunk and walking into the wrong house. I've even heard funny stories of people sleeping on the couch and being woken up by the neighbors or by the owners of the house the next day, right? And it was just a funny situation. It wasn't dangerous. But again, this could be a situation where the guy's literally out of his mind, not because he's drinking or on drugs at all, because maybe he's just having a mental illness episode, and all of a sudden he's trying to get into a house that doesn't belong to him.
Martin, quote, battled mental health challenges that profoundly impacted his personal and professional life. Ultimately, mental illness proved to be the one opponent from which Doug could not run.
I think we're going to start hearing about Mark Sanchez's and Doug Martin's every single month. As a matter of fact, it might already be happening every single month, but because the players might not be high profile enough, we might not be hearing about it. But here's another question. If we come to find out that football ends up giving this condition to such an overwhelming number of people, would you be open to the idea of us stopping football? That's what I'd like to know. Should we kill football in the name of mental health, or is this just one of those conditions that, maybe everybody has it for any old reason? It might not have anything to do with football. Because think about it, almost every kid from back in the day gets in a fight or two. Somebody hits you on the head, that ends up having long-term damage. Maybe your time playing football didn't do anything. Maybe it's that fight you got into once upon a time. Bradley's Fishing Adventure says CTE case for sure. So here's a guy that's in his mid-30s and he's already got potentially an advanced case of CTE. If that's the case, then that means he's probably been dealing with these issues for a number of years now. We used to think that these hits would have an accumulative effect, and that sometime down the line, when they were in their 60s, 70s, or 80s, it would really come back to haunt them. They'll lose their memories. Now I'm starting to think that there's no guarantee it's going to take them till they're in their 60s or 70s. These people are starting to lose their mind immediately. Eyes Wide Open Truth says, I don't believe ish, the media says. The problem with the media is that they've told so many half-truths over the years that even when they're trying to tell you a local story that really happened, people doubt it. I don't think this is a case of trying to show that an African-American athlete is wasted or acting inappropriate. I think this is literally a case where, if you think about it, he doesn't need money. He probably has plenty of other choices for girlfriends, right, or significant others. He probably doesn't mean to break into the house. So what could it be? It's either probably drugs or alcohol, a legit psychotic episode, or a legit psychotic episode brought on by repeated head trauma. That's my guess. We see all these cute videos of 5- and 6-year-old kids playing basketball and football and soccer. And some people might be thinking I'm picking on football, but they say that women's soccer players get a lot of concussions from when they try to head the ball and they collide with other girls' heads. And if it happens in female soccer, I assume it happens in male soccer as well. Hockey players, I'm assuming they get concussions probably at a similar rate to football players. And we already know that UFC fighters, they sound like hell after just a couple of years of fighting. So I have a suspicious feeling that sometime in the next 10 or 15 years, we're going to end up finding out that football does get eliminated, not because we don't love it, because I think we all love football. But I think if we were being really honest with ourselves, we would have to admit there's nothing really good that can come out of a sport that gives you head trauma. Thank goodness I'll be old and it won't matter by then, right? I don't think I'm going to love football as much when I'm in my 80s or 90s. So eliminate it then. Don't eliminate it this minute. Anyway, if there's another thing that we need to work on in eliminating, it's our cholesterol. It's our overweight, right? We're all fat. It's the things that we drink that destroy our teeth, like sugary drinks. Let's all make a decision together as a team that we're going to start walking every day. We're going to start acting and being more healthy, and we're going to live a long, healthy, and happy life. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.